Welcome Gemini to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 3rd of June for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now is the event chart for you for the start of the week. This gives us some very important pointers, not least your ruler Mercury. It's at 29 degrees and 22 minutes at midnight on Monday and is set to move into Gemini later on in the day. But last week it was in an exact conjunction with Uranus in your 12th house. You may have found, despite the arrival of Jupiter, the Sun and Venus in your sign, giving you a lot of extra vitality, that something was still proven to be a little bit agitating and affecting your peace of mind. Perhaps it was your sleep that had some very intrusive dreams, or you've just felt somewhat edgy, or maybe a psychological concern or anxiety was just weighing on your mind. But as Mercury switches back into Gemini, you're going to feel sharper, you're going to feel much more in the moment. Now, whether it's around a personal hobby, your interest, your social life, or your work, your creativity and personality power is really going to skyrocket this week, which gives you enormous opportunities. Because as Mercury arrives back in Gemini, it's very close to Jupiter, the planet of fortune, but also the planet of expansion, back in your sign, remember, for the first time in 12 years. Also, Jupiter has been building up in its alliance with Pluto over the last week, and that becomes exact on Monday. As I've mentioned before, for the first time in these two signs for 220 years. Now, Pluto's in a part of your situation to do with widening your horizons, downloading more knowledge, travel, anything to do with history, genealogy even, but most of all, just bringing a greater sense of variety and spontaneity to your existence. But of course, Pluto can deconstruct some parts of our life as well as reconstruct. But that link with Jupiter suggests if you show self-confidence in what's individual to you, Jupiter, and Mercury and Jupiter together on Monday, the two planets of trade, commerce, that combination in itself can be very fortunate. You could take a giant step forwards this week, particularly if you are quite artistic and have a lot of flair, because on Tuesday, Venus moves forward and applies to the Sun, an exact conjunction known as a cazimi. This amplifies the magic of Venus. And remember, Venus is about allure, it's about attracting goodness to us. Don't be surprised if someone is very drawn to you this week, but even if it doesn't happen this week, it could happen over the next year. So if you're looking for a new start in a relationship, this is a very positive portent. Then on Thursday, the new moon in your sign, a once a year event, a great opportunity to set our intentions. When it's in our own sign, we have to be single-minded. But Venus is so close to the location of the Sun and the Moon, which are unified, it's really saying to you, have self-belief in your ability to draw things to you, to emanate an energy which other people find utterly mesmeric. But also, Saturn, the planet of limitation, squares up to this exquisite combination. So just be aware that there could be someone in a professional situation particularly, or perhaps a parent or someone who tends to be a little bit of a killjoy, who may only be too happy to find a fault in a plan that you're developing. But if you prepare yourself for this and anticipate the type of questions or objections they may have, you can overcome their opposition. But it is important to understand that if a situation isn't going quite as quickly or as well as you would like, it may be because you're wanting to create a version of your reality that doesn't fit into someone else's expectations. And whether it is a line manager or a parent, it may be something you do need to anticipate. But by Sunday, Mars moves out of its 6 weeks passage through the friendliest and most sociable part of your situation into house 12. through to the 21st of July, your moods could, despite this glorious combination of energy in your sign, could be a little up and down. It just depends on your history, to be honest. If there are some old, rather painful memories that have lain dormant deep within you, they could get activated by Mars in the 12th house. But obviously Mars in Taurus is looking for value, because the sign of Taurus is about value and about money, and maybe something that you've done in the past can come back to you in a very helpful way over this 6-week period. It could even be an old contact, an old colleague, and you can reignite the collaboration between you. But most of all, Mars in the 12th house can just stir up some sediment around past hurts and upsets that we may have thought we've dealt with, and can still be a little bit more active than we might believe. So just be aware of that. But overwhelmingly, this can be a time when you can set your intentions to demonstrate just how dazzling, an individual, creative, imaginative, but most of all, absolutely gorgeous that you can be. It's been a great pleasure being with you, Gemini. Have a lovely week, and if you've yet to subscribe, please help the channel to grow and do so now.